Welcome to another episode of the Unhinged Wrestling Podcast. Today I've got Vineesh, Danny, and Nightmare with me again. It has been a few months since the last time we got a chance to speak, and it looks like slowly the world is bringing us back into pro wrestling, but taking way more time than most of us are happy with.
Thank you for having me, Kenny.
Yeah.
Hey, this is a brand new T-shirt. Let me do a little bit of small marketing here. There's a brand new T-shirts available. Like, this is really cool designs out here right now. My girlfriend, she did it for me. It's available on ProWrestlingTees.com. Go to ProWrestlingTees.com/TheIndyNightmare to get your T-shirts.
See, at least one of us sounds professional.
You're a professional, man. This is your show. I'm just
All right, so
yeah.
Like I said, it was in the summers last time we really got a chance to do one of these. Of course, I interviewed Joka Wild and Miss Hannah, and those were fun.
Yeah.
And, of course, everything's been crazy with this damn pandemic. And looks like some places are running some wrestling shows now. Is there anything in your neck of the woods? Or?
So in Memphis, actually, they're closed. They're not doing any shows. But October 31st, 901 Wrestling Promotion, they're doing a show for Halloween. I believe it's an outdoor event, but I'm not really sure. But 901 Wrestling, they always run in a bar, in a big bar set up. Like, they always draw these 300 to 400 people. So I really don't know at this point in time how much people they're going to draw for this Halloween show. So 901 Wrestling is the only promotion that I know in Memphis, Tennessee is running on this month. That's even for Halloween. And apart from that, there was another promotion that was supposed to work in Mississippi Compact Wrestling League. I was supposed to do a casket match with Wes Barron. But at the last moment yesterday, the promoter posted, and he also called me and told me, the event got canceled due to COVID, the county requirements or something, but it got canceled because of COVID. And Arkansas, they have a promotion, REW, and they pretty much run once a month. And again, it's one of those promotions where you don't really see more than 20, 25 people. I believe in the state of Arkansas, the capacity is 50%, I believe. I live in Memphis, Tennessee, so Mississippi and Arkansas is just like right here, like 10, 15 minutes of distance. So far, Memphis have only one wrestling show, and the last month, like an hour from here, in USA Wrestling celebrated Jerry the King Lawler's 50-year of anniversary in the world of wrestling. Guys like Kane, Boogeyman, Rock and Roll Express, Jim Ross, and all those guys were there. It was a good show.
It seems like, I know over the last week or two ago, however long recently, there was that big 2 or 3 day wrestling event that took place, and it seems like every time someone tries to take a big step, there's always suddenly been reports of how many people have been, contracted COVID from the event. I can't remember what the name of the company was, but I'm sure you remember hearing about it. They had like a 3 day event last week, and
was it Georgia?
I think so, because afterwards,
yeah.
I mean, as a result of that, past week on AEW, they had to pull Joey Janela because of contact from being at that event.
Oh, well, I mean, I don't understand. Well, for NFL, you have still fans. You still have like a bunch of fans in the stadium. When there was a match was going on, I believe it was a Kansas City or Texans or something. I don't remember. When they were holding hands together, protesting against the racism and everything, and the crowd was booing. And you could hear the crowd. It was still, people were there in the building, in the stadium. So I don't know what's the problem with professional wrestling. All you got to do is just follow the guidelines, wear the mask, maintain a social distancing. But I believe people don't want to follow it, and some people, it's sad. Being an Uber driver and Lyft driver, I come across with a lot of different people from different backgrounds. I meet so many people, they still don't believe that this is real.
Yeah.
It's related to politics, and some weird things that they say. Hospitals are giving fake numbers just to get the benefit money from the government. Uh, some people say it's not real, it's politics. It's people don't understand. It's
Yeah,
costing everybody a problem. If there's a wrestling show out there, I mean, I recommend people, fans, to go there, enjoy it, but make sure just wear a mask.
I think so far one of the only major companies that's been able to run shows with fans at any level really has been AEW, because they actually are keeping them separated and seem to be doing a pretty good job. I mean, it's still risky, but
They
I
run in Jacksonville, Florida, so
yeah,
they run in a football stadium. So what they've done is fans, they're not really close to the ring. The people that you see
yeah,
there in the first row, they're not fans. They're wrestlers. They work for the company. So the fans actually, they sit all the way in the back. So they're a little bit more safe. At the same time, you get the live reaction instead of like recording the fake crowd chants that we see in the World Wrestling Entertainment.
the Thunderdome. Yeah, it's great to see that they've got fans in there. I do get a kick out of that. They invested so much money in putting up all those screens and renting out that building for the Thunderdome.
Yeah.
And AEW's answer was to just sell a few tickets and have a smaller amount, but real fans. I was like, that is really good counter programming to each other there.
Yeah, I'll point out one more thing. Just like New Japan Pro Wrestling, Kenny Omega used to work in there. He built his name in there. So even Kenny Omega is part of like AEW. What they do, I have friends in there. This is what they told me. They always take temperature check. They do everything in a professional way, and you don't really see stuff like after every match. They wipe the ring, they wipe the ropes, and they clean it. They don't really show those kind of things on TV, but that's what they
Yeah,
do. That's what New Japan Pro Wrestling does. Like it doesn't matter. You have like 10 matches on the card. After every single matches, you have people come in and they clean and they wipe all the ropes and everything. They use sanitizers, and their AEW is really doing a good job here. They're keeping all these fans away from the action, but at the same time, they get that fun, But about
I know.
WWE, again, WWE bought Evolve, which was one of the independent professional wrestling promotion, one of the biggest independent professional wrestling company. They bought Evolve, their videotapes, video libraries, and they bought all these things, and they hired pretty much a lot of wrestlers, workers from that company as well. So I've got an opportunity to be a part of the WWE Extra. So I was supposed to do one show in March 27th in Chicago Arena. It didn't happen. They canceled the venue. And then I got an opportunity to do another one. It was supposed to be tomorrow on October 23rd, but unfortunately it got canceled again due to the state restrictions. They still bring extra people, very, very few amount of people from the state of Florida. That's all they're allowed to do now. And on top of that, they have a bunch of wrestlers. That it's a good and sad thing at the same time. You have more than 200 and 300 wrestlers, and they don't have TV times. They're part of the crew, the fans. I kind of like feel like WWE's kind of like losing test, even though I believe recently in Thunderstorm, they started putting the same the screens on shows over and over again. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like Kenny's already there on last week's SmackDown, and Kenny is not registered, and he's just sitting at home and chilling beer and drinking beer. And Kenny, the same Kenny who was actually on the last week's SmackDown, is there still on this week's SmackDown. And he'll be like, what the hell?
yeah.
Yeah, they're using the same screens, and I'm not really shitting on WWE. I'm nobody to say anything bad about WWE, but it's sad. I feel like they should have like come up with something,
Yeah, I
and
mean, at least they're trying. It's not like they're still in the performance center. They did do something different to try to change their programming. It's just
yeah, I really
both
feel bad for
both
Drew
companies are really
McIntyre, man.
hurting for this.
Oh yeah,
Oh, Drew, yeah, I feel really bad for him. I mean,
That
someone that finally is
WrestleMania
getting that
moment,
push.
yeah, there was no one in there in the building, and it was weird.
But it's like you said, they're able to wipe everything down a lot easier. Could you imagine trying to see some of these indie shows pull that off? I just don't see how they could do it. And I think that's part of why there's a lot more cross contamination, people running into each other, touching the same things. I mean, it's the prospect of even working on a show right now. If one popped up and they're like, "You want to be in?" is still kind of.
They
I want the
don't care.
ring,
That's the
but
problem. It's just like, when you go to OVW locker room, you see all these signs, don't do this, don't do that, and even though like when you're walking towards the ring and there's a sign that says "Tell a story," so just like that, like Al and all the other guys, they're doing an amazing job, and they just recently got a deal with Qatar Pro Wrestling. So my point is, like, they're very well organized promotion, and independent professional wrestlers, wrestling promoters, if they want it, they can. It's the thing is, promoters are not parents, they're not teachers. They can, like, okay, put something in a paper and put it out there, but it's the wrestlers. Unfortunately, what I've seen, like, during this pandemic, I was still doing shows, and I don't want it to disrespect anybody. So instead of shaking people's hands, I give them a fist. But what I've seen is, like, they don't care. Their attitude was like, "Oh, fuck COVID, it's not even real. I don't give a shit." That's a problem. This is like, hey, if I get heat for saying this, let it be. But I'm just saying, there are people out there. If fans are coming down there, if kids are out there, they want to give you a high five, and they're still doing it. They don't understand this.
yeah.
Wrestlers have to take a step. If you want to give a high five, yeah, no problem. Wear gloves and give a high five. But this wrestlers needs to be a little bit more responsible.
I will say a little bit of a transition here. One thing I have noticed, it seems like now that shows are starting to try and run again, is it seems like as soon as that happened, I realized the one good thing that came from the pandemic for wrestling is that there was so much less drama. Because as soon as the companies start running again, it seems like politics are back in play. More stupid drama has been happening.
Yeah.
Not that you or I have ever been involved in any drama with any companies or anybody ever.
And just like Rick Bryant said, people fight over fake fight for no reason. People have egos over fake fights for no reason. Breaking the kayfabe here.
Oh, whenever someone gets really
Not
mad
me,
like
Rip.
that, the one thing I always like to point out is that pro wrestling is a whole bunch of people without pants fighting for a belt.
Oh yeah, man. I listen, man. I was pretty much the same way too. I'm not like denying the fact. For me, it was like for me it was kind of like real. I had a huge ego. Like if some promoters ask me, "Hey, okay, you going over?" I'll be like, "Okay, cool. You putting more?" All right. That was there first. Like, the more you learn, then you'll understand. And I've seen a lot of people who've been to places. I don't want to drop the names. This is one guy that I got a chance to work in Indianapolis back in 2019, I believe. And the promoter told him, put me over strong. And, I showed up at the venue like 4:30, early as possible. Tried to talk to this guy, and he didn't really like, talking to me. He was just walking away. And I pitched some ideas, and I said, like, I train in Japan too. I want to do some Japanese stuff. And this guy who actually also happens to train in Japan as well. So I thought that we could do some cool Japanese stuff. I'm trying to talk to him, and he was just like, he had no interest in and putting me over. And I asked him, like, so how are we going to do this? And he was like, okay, give me a schoolboy and, you hold my ties, 1, 2, 3. And I was like, where in the world, how that's going to be like putting you, like over in a strong way. And I was like, well, I mean, it's sad. I watched the match. He was shooting at me like, in the early stages, a lot of judo throws and stuff. There's things that you do in the world of professional wrestling is like you always call for the I hate to use the word spot. Like
Yeah.
if you have to have that mutual chemistry. Like if I'm working with Kenny, I'm like, okay, what do you want to do? Let's do a chain wrestling. Okay, this is what I like to do. Instead of going into details, we can do a lot of certain things in the ring as well. Depends on what we can do. So he haven't asked me anything like what I can do, what I can not. It was just literally like doing all these judo throws, and you try to pull the shoulder socket joint, like in a bad way.
Yeah.
And in between, I believe somewhere half of the match or something, he gave me a vicious elbow to my jaw, started spitting blood, and I had a concussion. And at the end of the match, I was supposed to do some stuff for him. What was the thing that Seth Rollins does, like from the suplex? Falcon Arrow.
Falcon Arrow, yeah.
Yeah, so I couldn't really, I lost. I lost. I couldn't really, it happens, but I lost and I couldn't do it. When I pulled the ties 1, 2, 3 in the back, I told him, man, I couldn't do that Falcon Arrow. Then I started spitting blood, and later, so this guy, like, he didn't, just like Vinny Violence back in AWA, he didn't give a shit. He was like, hey, how you doing? How you feel? Nothing. No questions, nothing. I reached home and I sent him a message on social media. I was like, hey, man, I was hurt because I take this sport very seriously. It doesn't matter if it's like 20 people or 50 people. It doesn't matter. I get $10, $20, or $50. Whatever we do out there, we need to do it in the right way so that we can entertain the fans. And it's not like, I couldn't put all of my stuff together. It's just the fact that he broke my trust. Like, I'm putting my body on the line. I'm trusting you. Okay, and I expressed how I felt. He didn't respond, completely ignored. And I was living in Indianapolis at that time. I'm still going to shows. I hadn't do any shows for a month at this point in time because of concussions and everything. And I started traveling, and I was still doing shows in Indiana, like WCWO. Yeah, it's a company, not World Championship Wrestling Organization. It's one of those companies that I was working, and the guy that I worked, the guy who gave me the concussion, his name came up. It wasn't, let me repeat this again. His name came up. It wasn't like I was going on social media and posting stuff about people.
Yeah.
So his name came up, and I expressed how I felt, maybe to 2 or 3 people. And that was then. And I believe a year later, so I got booked in a show somewhere in Indiana near to Michigan area. So I went there. So this guy, he and his friends showed up, and he came to me and he was like, "Hey, man, how you doing?" I had no clue who in the world he is because I had no memory. I forgot about it. He's been a year. And I was like, then it clicked in my head. I was like, oh, wait a minute. That's it. That's him. All right. Okay. No problem. The match that I had on that promotion with, it was bad. It was terrible. The promoter told me I'll be working with this kid who have 2 years of experience. He barely had 6 months of experience. And it's a lot of miscommunications out there. They booked me, and and the promoter, the booker asked me, like, hey, would you like to do a 5-minute squash match, like where you're like dominating, or you want to do a good 10, 15-minute match? I was like, I'll like to do a 10, 15-minute match because I drove 2 hours for this,
Yeah.
and I don't want you to pay this money for like a squash match. I was like, okay, just want to work with somebody, so that I can improve as well. But they put me in the ring with this kid. I don't want to blame the kid, for everything. It was bad. And I'm not comparing myself with Buck Bagwell, Scott Steiner, or any other people, but I just say bad matches happens
Oh yeah.
in this business, and that was a bad match. That was a bad night. After the match, Trash, uh, he showed up. I mean, he was there with other people, and Trash and all the other guys showed up, and they started making a big scene. Now, even though the match was not that great, promoter, he's obligated to pay me, right? Now, that dude tried his best to play me. He's just ignoring me. He's not talking to me. And for me, in my head, no matter whatever happens, I'm getting my fucking money today.
Yeah.
So he's trying his best to walk away. Then this dude that I had heat with, he showed up and he wanted to talk to me. He called me out, and I was like, hey, what's going on? Then he said something, and I was like, and I said, dude, it is what it is. I expressed it. And him and his friends, oh, you never hurt anybody yet? Listen, Hulk Hogan and Ric Flair, they're legends in this business. And you're saying that they never hurt anybody? Dude, this is a business where if somebody want to hurt you, they can. Give you an example. Bob Holly and Matt Capitoli incident in Tough Enough. Bob is a veteran. He beat the shit out of Matt. So it's just one of those things. And his friends were like, he never hurt anyone. I was like, dude, it was my experience I shared. And then Trash came in there. He made a big scene. He started screaming, oh, I didn't know you were backstabbing, son of a bitch. You talk shit, yada, yada. He started screaming, shouting, yelling, made a big scene. And a few of his friends went inside and talked to the promoter. I don't know what they said. And I went inside and I talked to the promoter. I need my fucking money and get the fuck out of there because I'm the only brown guy out there. Yeah, and I don't even have insurance at that point of time. So you got to think from my mindset at that point of time. And then promoter said, well, let's do this. Let's go off. And you apologize to this dude, Mr. X. Apologize to him in front of everybody. Then I'll pay you. How about that? I was like, I thought about it. I was like, fuck it. If I get that money, all right, I'll do it. I'm gonna fucking throw my ego somewhere because I need the money. And I was like, okay. I went outside and Trash again, still running his mouth, screaming, yelling, And I said, all right, I call everybody, every wrestler outside, just like a kindergarten. It's like a little kid. It's just like, I said, I apologize. I said a lot of stuff about this guy. Again, it's not like I went on social media or I was talking shit or anything like that. If I had, for example, let's say I had a bad match with Vinny, I didn't really went on, this, you're a witness too. I never went on social media and I didn't really said or posted anything. When people ask me about the match, I express my opinion. So just like that, then long story short, I was there and I apologized. And again, it took 10, 15 more minutes for the promoter. The promoter realized, okay, this motherfucker isn't going anywhere. I got to pay him. And I'm really sorry for cursing, but anyway.
It's all good.
So I, where I come from, man, I struggled a lot. I was homeless. I understand the value of money. Money is important. But at the same time, if you work so hard for it, no matter whatever it is, you try to get that money. That's all was going on in my head. And even after all I did that, again, he took 15 some minutes. Then he gave me the money. And of course, what else you get it when you get money? Advice and a free speech. You're a great worker and everybody have a bad match. Don't worry about it. We'd like to bring you back. We all family here, yada, yada, yada. But again, man, it's just one of those places. It was my bad experience. I shook hands with everybody, pretend like, everything is okay, cool. It hurt my feelings. And then, come on, man, I'm 33 years old. But I was a bit sad and upset the way they treated me. A small issue with two people could be resolved in an easy way.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
It's two people's problem. They ended up bringing a bunch of people into it. They humiliated me, embarrassed me in front of other people. Come on, you know. Well, anyway, so that incident happened. I didn't really say anything to anyone. Then Tom posted. They have these meetings on social media. So Tom posted a video where Ben, for me, I tell you this, Ben is a great guy. He's a trainer. He's a coach in XWW. Great guy. You know, I have nothing but respect for him. When he says something, I shut my mouth. I listen. He's a guy who actually been places. He traveled around. He have knowledge.
Yeah.
And in that video, what I saw was like, you know, Trash was like disrespecting him, and then Tom and XWW fired him, and then you know the rest of the things. But still, I'll put it out there. He started talking shit about a promoter, a promotion. Man, he was talking crap about the trainer of Dean Ambrose, aka John Moxley in AEW, Cody Hawk. So that was suicidal, and I just then he posted something on social media about me too. I were there, like I was in that position. I was there. You have frustrations, you have problems with people, and his excuse was he had some illness and problems. Man, we all grown-ups. Just like I said, I'm 33 years old. At one point of time in my life, wrestling was everything. Wrestling was the thing. But at this point of time, it's sad. I don't know if it's sad, it's a good thing or bad thing. From what I've experienced, the less you know, the less important people that you know in this wrestling business, the more is better, the more you will love this business. The more you know the people is involved in this business, then you will lose that passion and love. I mean, absolutely. I did not lose the passion and love. I still have it. But do I still have the same passion that I had 2 years ago? Nah, not really. You know, I don't want to bother anyone. Just go and do my stuff, what promoter asked me to do without any ego or hesitation. And I'm a worker. I'm a professional. Act as a professional and do a good thing and entertain the fans. Give them a good match.
Yeah, that's
I'm sorry, I was just running my mouth.
Oh, you're right, though. Like I said, that's what we're paid to do, is just to go out there and give everyone a good time, have good matches, keep our opponents safe.
Yeah.
And for me, it seems like the longer I'm away from actually doing shows, yeah, I still definitely want to get back in that ring. But the longer I'm away from it, the more okay with being away from it I am.
Yeah.
I mean,
the only wrestlers actually are safe right now is in Mexico. Lucha Libres.
I mean, I'm still, of course, as soon as everything opens up again and TWA's running, of course, I'm going to be there. But I'm not anxious anymore. It's just when it happens, it happens. And because it seems like every time I think about trying to get involved, something stupid happens. Like you had your incident there with Trash being an idiot. His Facebook is so toxic.
But I tell you this, and since you've recorded, I know we spoke about this earlier, but let me say this. Trash had one of the best and unique gimmick in the world of independent professional wrestling, the world of wrestling, period. He had a very unique and amazing gimmick.
Oh, it was a fantastic gimmick. Like I said before, about probably 4 or 5 years ago, I got a call from Billy Short. A lot of people in West Virginia area know him as Rusty Shank or as Billy Litt. I got a ton of respect for the guy, and he calls me. He goes, "I've got it. I've got your gimmick." I said, "Well, what's that?" He says, "Vincent Cross needs to fall on hard times. He needs to become a hobo and like start wrestling barefoot and start like going out and begging for change before the shows." I was like thinking about how great of a gimmick it was, but it wasn't me, and I turned it down.
Yeah.
And then about a year and a half ago, I was talking to Trash, and he was telling me about how much money he made outside of his payoffs just from like selling his signs.
Not only that, people literally actually give him money, thinking that he's really like that.
And it just makes me think, damn, I missed the boat on that. I mean, creatively, it's not what I would have loved, but financially, that'd been nice.
Oh yeah. Even I don't know. A lot of people know this. Sanjay Dutt, one of the Indian wrestler back in TNA days, where he had a rivalry with Black Machismo Jay Lethal. He had this entrance where he had this small pot, and where he asked for money, and a lot of people used to pay him like $10, $20, and $30 and stuff like that. He made some money from there too.
Yeah. I mean, there's your gas money easy.
Yeah, right. Yeah, but
But
again, like I said, like Trashy, he had a great, great gimmick. He could be in places, with his, but like I said, he killed his own career.
I mean, I do hope he gets help, but you don't go online and threaten to kill yourself if someone doesn't help you or give you money. That's what he's doing right now, and it's just hard to look at him.
Hey, even if he gets better, the thing is, now these days, especially what you put on social media, everyone is really pretty much reading it, seeing it, and it's going to go against him maybe down the road.
Oh yeah, like I said, I don't. As far as in the business, to hell with him.
Yeah.
As a person to person, yeah, I hope he does get what he needs because, well, it's bad time for everyone right now. But
Yeah.
you can't be the victim all the time.
Yeah.
But talking about politics and wrestling and things going awry, I think I told you a little bit about some of the adventures that I've been on lately.
In West Virginia.
No, the issues with Mr. Copper and
Oh, Kellen Copper. Yeah.
and RPW and his buddy Vito.
Oh my God, man! Oh my God. Oh Jesus! Okay. I'm not gonna bring it up till you say something. I'll just wait.
All right, well, I'll go ahead and start. I think I told you about it. I've never spoken about this yet really publicly until right
Yeah.
now. About a month, maybe 2 months ago, or a little longer, I got home and I took my family out to eat. When I get back, I have a call from my neighbor asking me what's going on. And it turns out that a couple sheriff's cars had came by my house looking for me to arrest me. There was a call placed to them from a woman claiming to be my wife's sister, saying that I was in the process of beating up my wife and my kids.
Wow.
So they were sent there to try to break up a domestic dispute that wasn't happening. They even went out to my dad's place looking for me there, and so half the county found out about this.
Wow.
All while I'm sitting at Pizza Hut with my family having a peaceful dinner. Apparently, I'm supposedly at my house beating up my wife, my 10-year-old, and my 2-year-old. Then my wife, when we're trying to figure out what's going on, she calls the police and tells them what happened and lets them, clears it up because, of course, it's not going to sound good coming from me. I mean, they were just told I was doing this. So we're looking online and checking call histories. She gets a message from a woman that I know is a friend, associate of Vito Bad from that Dead Man's Fight Club wrestling company, which is family-friendly Dead Man Fight Club. And I know for a fact she's part of them because it says so on her Facebook page. I'm not going to mention her name. Messaging my wife, claiming that she works with social services and that she heard that my wife was being abused by me and that she could tell her. And the way it read to me was very much as we're telling you who this is, but we're not telling you who this is.
Yeah.
And it was earlier that day I'd made a post taking a little backhanded jab at Vito, but it was in a good fun post. It was one of those events at Cross, list of things I don't like, and Vito was on the list. I'm working a character. Yeah, we don't work together, but people know it. Why not blend a little bit and have fun? So, the case, we decided we're just going to not really press charges because it's a whole big legal hassle.
Yeah.
That's the reason.
I mean, you have a family. I mean, it's just a lot of process and it's just pain in the butt.
Like I said, like, if Vito has a problem with me, he can come and find me. I'm not hard to find. He can have any of his buddies contact me or whatever, and I'll give him my address, and we can meet in person and talk, and we can settle this like actual adults with words. but you don't bring someone's family into it.
Yeah.
He brought my wife and my kids into this. It's not funny. But that kind of smoothed out. And then about 2 weeks ago, I get a message from someone claiming to be a member of the Hells Angels, telling me that he heard that I have beef with some friends of his, and the Hells Angels would appreciate it if it stops. I'm confused. So, because he sent me a friend request, so I'd accepted it because it's the cross page. I figure, it's a fan. And if someone sends me a request on there, I assume they're fans and I accept them.
Yeah.
I looked on his friends list, and one of the only mutual friends we had was Caleb Copper, the owner of RPW,
BW.
who used to be the owner of IWA, for people that have heard me talk about that before.
One
Caleb
of
is
the
someone
partners. Yeah.
Caleb's someone I consider to be a friend. Of course, I wrestled for IWA for free, as we discussed before. Never really complained about it. So I was just trying to help the company. But in his new company, he knew that this guy Vito didn't like me. I've never figured out what Vito's initial problem with me was. He claims, I guess, that I've tried to sabotage him. I don't know. I haven't, period. But there's a disrespect there. I don't trust him. So I would never get in the ring with someone I don't trust because, as you said,
Yeah.
you've got to trust the person in the ring not to hurt you so that they can trust you not to hurt them.
Yeah.
I was slated. I'm going to pull the curtain way back here, and expose the business. So hopefully no one shows it's a Cornette so he doesn't get mad at me. But they had slotted me into a program after asking me to wrestle for RPW. A heavyweight title program. They wanted me to face off with Buckshot Jones. It was going to lead to me taking the title, and they wanted me to have a 6 to 7 month run as their champion.
While last time they changed it to a triple threat or something.
Yep, at the last minute the match got changed to a triple threat. They still wanted me to win, but they decided to put Vito in the match. Now this is after they already told me the plan. They knew who I was going to drop the title to. I was working with them on how to build that guy up because I didn't want to be there long term. But they wanted me to be that top villain, the top heel, so that when the time was right, I could bring that guy to the next level. And I was happy to be part of it. I tell him I'm not working Vito. Pull him out of the match. Why? I don't trust him. Well, we have to have him in it. Why? He's not part of the match. He's not medically cleared. The man had just had a heart attack. He couldn't take a bump. I don't trust him. He doesn't trust me. And they want me to be in there with this guy who's basically at this point crippled. He can't wrestle.
If anything happens, then it will be on your hand.
So now I get told, if I don't want to do it, I'm out. I already said I'm not doing it. That wasn't the question. So I got kicked out by the booker, who was Guile Castle.
Yeah.
A few months later, they claimed that they didn't know anything about it. I got message from other people involved in owning the company that said, hey, we didn't know what Guile did, and trying to get me to come back. And I thought about it, and I talked to Buckshot, and I said, he's gone. If they get rid of Vito, I'll come back. They're not getting rid of Vito. Caleb is good friends with him. They're business partners. So he's put that first. So when I see that now they got this biker with them telling me that I better step in line when I haven't talked to or about any of these people in a while.
Yeah, he didn't actually mention anything about the whole incident on social media, and I was like,
no, I was.
But you were very, very professional, and
the last thing I told them. The last thing I told them was I had messaged Caleb and said, "Tell Vito to cut this shit out. And as long as he just drops it and we move on with our lives, I'm done. Nothing more to do with it." But apparently, I guess I upset Caleb when I made a comment about someone that he keeps booking that isn't trained, that's unprofessional. You met him. He calls himself the psychopath, Rob Allen. So if we're gonna do shooting, let's fire up the guns here. Rob Allen, when I worked the show there in December, and this is going to freak you out. I don't know if I told you this before, but I want to see your expression. So, when I worked that December show last December for RPW, Rob was in a tag match as a member of that team, the Squad. Him and that, I can't think of the other guy's name, JJ
Was it
Stone.
Asylum? Oh, okay, Squad, okay.
It was that JJ Stone and Rob Allen.
Yeah.
And they were going against two trainees, Mike Buckner and I can't think of them, Tommy Blaine.
This
Both are
is in TWA or IWA?
RPW.
Oh, it's an RPW. Oh, okay.
Yeah, they're the one show they ran so far in December.
Yeah.
So it's two guys that are supposed to be veterans that talk about how many years they've been in the business against two guys that shouldn't be in the ring yet. They're not trained. The training has just begun. They really aren't ready. I like both of them, but they're too green. So I'm watching this match because I want to see how it plays out. For some reason, the match becomes a street fight. It's not booked as one. I don't know what went wrong, but I saw JJ Stone and Rob Allen go underneath the ring and pull weapons out that were set for another match, pull out kendo sticks. And they beat these guys till they were covered in welts and bruises and cuts. One of them got his nose busted. They just beat the fuck out of him. I mean, throwing stiff, legitimate punches, beating on them with weapons. They come back and their backs are bleeding and they're covered in blisters and welts. And these two guys come back through the curtain acting like everything's just fine and like those guys screwed up. And everyone thought I was the one that was really overstepping when I was pissed off at them. I said, they shouldn't be in the ring. You knew. It wasn't like if you and I had a match and I pulled some stupid shit on you and you got mad and punched me. That's different. Yeah. We're both trained. We both know the deal.
Yeah.
But if you're working with a trainee, like you said you had a bad match with one that really wasn't ready to be in the ring. Even if he does something in the ring that you know is going to piss you off, you don't shoot on him because you know he doesn't know better.
Yeah.
They didn't know better. And they were being told, this is how we toughen you up. And I jumped them. I said, that's not professional. That's bullshit. I said, people like that have no place in this business. If you can't understand that a trainee doesn't know what they're doing, and if you can't guide them through a simple match, after you claim you've been in the business for 9 fucking years, then you have no place in this business. Sorry, Rob. You're a joke. You're a cancer. You're a scam. Get the fuck out of the business before you hurt somebody.
He got a call from All Japan and New Japan Pro Wrestling. What are you talking about, Kenny? They were supposed to go to Japan.
I forgot about that. Yeah, Sonny Ono was all excited for them, wasn't he?
Oh my God, man, it was terrible. And JJ was like, "Hey, we got the call. We got a call from New Japan Pro Wrestling, man. They loved our stuff. You know, we're going to Japan." And first, I was like, I don't really pay attention. And then I told JJ, like, JJ, I've been to Japan twice. I tell you something. You say these kind of shit to green homes, you know, they will buy it. Just you know, don't say this kind of stuff to workers, man. Don't embarrass yourself. Well, yeah. I was trying, you know. I was like, no, don't try. Just don't open your mouth about Japan.
Yeah, about a month or so ago, though, I got a message from Rob asking me what my problem was with him, and apparently he thinks that my problem with him was that I think he's stealing my gimmick, and because he's a psychopath. You've seen him as a psychopath, right? That's not a. He thinks that I'm upset because he's stealing my gimmick. No, he can't steal my gimmick because he'd have to know how to wrestle and how to act first. I mean, Vincent Cross is crazy. Rob can't do that. He can't.
No emotions now. I don't really see any.
Oh, my face hurts.
I've seen his promos, man. It's just, hey, my promos. I'm not saying my promos are good either, but at least when you have something, you know, when you say something, you have to have some sort of emotions. And he was like, well, numb.
There's certain points you got to get across in a promo.
I'm gonna beat you.
Like, you know, if you're building a promo, you got to figure out what the show is. What are you building towards? We're building towards this. What's the selling point? Well, the selling point, save it to me and you. Okay. I'm trying to sell people on a match between me and you. So I'm going to cut a promo telling people who you are. He's the Indian Nightmare. He's won titles everywhere. He's gone. See, I put you over. Then I go, but he's never beaten me because I'm a crazy one. And I'll do even more than he will. You build both guys up. And then you mention the name of the place.
Yeah.
What's happening? How much
The
tickets are?
venue,
You get out of the promo.
Yeah.
He doesn't do that. He rambles and rants, and you don't know what he's selling. You don't know where he's wrestling. He doesn't hype the show, doesn't hype the match. He just talks about how good he is.
Me and George, we laughed so hard on Rob Allen. It was terrible. It was bad. Oh, it's one of those times where they were doing this ankle, I don't know what's it called, asylum?
Oh, the Asylum, yeah.
And I don't know what Caleb's group goes by at that point of time. I don't remember, but they
Devin James.
always, Devin James and his group. I don't know if they have like a name for their group, but I know Asylum. Kodiak, Rob Allen, David Storm, but the other guys were there. So Rob Allen and David Storm, they cut promos back to back, and it was a treat for us.
Oh, God. I've seen those promos, and they're
At least,
terrible.
Devin Storm. Not Devin Storm. Devin James, Caleb, right? At least, I give him a credit. His promos were at least he was serious about it. He was into it. Like, I'm going to kick your ass. I'm going to beat the crap out of you. He was into it. He was, it looked so real.
Yeah.
It was kind of like he had that heat. He wanted to kill him, destroy him. Caleb had great promo. Like, most of his promos that I've seen is just really amazing. He's done a great job when it comes to
He knows
promos.
how to get to the point.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He's really good. But, brah, well, Devin, I was like, I can't even watch it. It's just start laughing whenever I see him. But again, I don't want to make this show as like shit on Rob Allen or trash.
Hey,
But
I think
hey,
it's a
we're
little too
talking.
late for that with me.
I know, right? We already did it anyway. It's kind of like
It's not like I lost a booking. I'm not going back there. So,
unfortunately, the sad truth is independent professional wrestling is dying. It's sad, but that's the truth. Like, there are only a few states. We have 50 states. Out of 50 states, only a few states have the permission to run any wrestling event. And even if you run it, you can put more than 25, 30, maybe 50 people. That's it.
and that's what
promoters are struggling too. They're not gaining any money. They're even. This is a request of a lot of wrestlers. Understand the promoter his issues or her issues. Work with the promoter if you can. I know before all this pandemic, me, all the other workers, we charge a certain amount of money because we know we can make it, we can ask for it. But this is the time period where we all have to know and understand and support the promoters, and respect them, help them out as much as possible.
And right now, I think a lot of people don't realize too. Like, if you go to a building and they say you can have 100 people in the building, I know a lot of fans have said, "Well, that's 100 tickets you can sell." No, it's not. Say
Not really.
You have 6 matches on the card, all straight singles matches. That's 12 people. Now you got your promoter. There's 13 people. You have a sound tech. That's 14. You got 2 or 3 referees, or probably let's say 2 referees. 16. You're almost at 20 people, and you haven't sold a ticket. Once you get your people in there to sell your food, 3 or 4 people to run that, someone to sit at the front and take tickets, security, all those things. Once you get that, you really cut down. Plus, if the wrestlers want to bring their family to see the show, you're not charging the family. And if half those wrestlers bring 3 people with them, you're at 50 plus people, and you haven't sold a ticket yet.
Yeah.
So people say, well, why aren't they running? They can't run because then they can't afford to pay anybody. And even though a lot of wrestlers say, well, we'll work for free, a good promoter is going to look at that and go, no, I'm not okay with that.
Yeah.
You deserve something. Like, that's the issue with TWA is that Brad knows that he's got enough of us right now that if he can get a building, he's got a bunch of us that would work for free right now for him just to help him out to keep the show going.
Yeah, I haven't told him, I'll fly from here.
He said unless he can get to where he can pay everybody and at least break even, he said he's just not going to risk it. He said between that and health, it's just not worth it. And I understand. I pretty agree with him. Even though I'd love to get in there and do it, he's making the right call.
Yeah.
There's places now that can run, like XVW. They can run in certain capacity in certain ways. and they're able to make a little profit. That's great, but they own the venue. They have access to things that a lot of them don't, and a lot of people have to take that into account. Like, I thought about contacting Tom to see about going to XPW myself, but I'm going to wait until they can run regular attendance shows because I can't afford to go there and lose money, and I also don't want to take a spot from one of his guys that's been there waiting to run again. So who would I be to try to go in and take someone else's spot there? Because he's got guys local that are homegrown guys that aren't going to be going anywhere. And he shouldn't cut them out for me.
True.
That's kind of my viewpoint right now, because I don't do a lot of traveling wrestling anyways.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I mean,
we've all got
it's good to be on the safe side. You have family. You have to worry about your kids, your family. So, a lot of people, they don't understand that, like, because they again, it's one of those things I was talking about earlier. Like, a lot of people, they think that, oh, screw COVID, it's not real. I don't give a shit. I don't think any worker ever had any COVID or anything like that. And it's just, I forgot one of the guys named Hannibal. What was his real name? He's the guy who actually refused the WWE tryout. Even he got the contract. He got a hepatitis B, or whatever. ESPN did a documentary about him.
I know who you're talking about. I just can't think of his name.
Devin. Let me see. Yeah, Devin Hannibal Nicholson. That's his name.
Oh, okay.
So the dude was like, now, anyway, I mean, hey, he was a great worker, he didn't got the contract with WWE, and he started his own podcast. He started interviewing people. He started making money. When you have more than 1 million viewers, I believe you get a certain amount of money from YouTube and all these platforms. He's good. He's getting success. And I saw one of his posts on social media. Hey, is there any COVID-infected wrestlers are out there? If there are, I'd like to interview you. I was like, what a fucking piece of shit. He want to make money out of that thing. That's when I lost respect for people like that. I was like, dude, you just, well, I mean, I don't talk to him anymore or anything like that. I don't care. Like, you respect people's privacy, If this has nothing to do with the wrestling business. At the end of the day, we all are human beings. We all get sick, infected, but you can't, like, take an advantage of the situation, try to make money out of it. Oh, screw that.
Yeah, it's crazy what some people will go through to try to make a quick buck these days.
Yeah. So what about you, man? You watch WWE, AEW, TNA?
I actually kind of just about quit watching WWE lately, and a lot of it has not even so much the product, which it's kind of rough, but.
Do you remember the 90s WWE, early 90s, like a lot of cartoonish things?
Oh, yeah.
So a little bit of that and a little bit of Attitude Era. It's all together campaign. It looks terrible.
But my big issue with why I've kind of quit watching it really isn't even to do with the product. It's more been some of the outside things that they've done, like the whole the Twitch streaming issue they've had recently, where they're telling the wrestlers they're going to take their accounts over.
Social media, yeah.
And I'm not okay with that. And I'm like, I don't want to help them by being a viewer or anything right now. It just makes me not want to watch, and I feel bad for the wrestlers that are in that situation. I don't know if you saw, I made a post video about a week ago or two, kind of bitching about it. And like
this is the thing, though. In the Middle East, they do all these kind of things. When a big company hires you, you're not allowed to post anything on the social media about the company or about anything like that. Well, this is not Middle East. This is the United States of America. It's just the land of the free and home of the brave. You have the freedom of speech, and you're taking that away from people just because you signed a contract.
That's the thing. They're independent contractors. They're not employees.
Mm-hmm.
If you work for Walmart, I can understand Walmart being upset if you go on your Facebook page and you post about how much you hate Walmart.
Yeah.
I understand that. But if they hire you if you're an independent contractor and you want to do something else besides your regular job and you're not talking about your other job, like the ones who are doing the gaming channels.
Yeah.
Who cares?
It has
I
nothing to do
understand,
with
like,
it. I know.
they're doing it to make extra money because right now they've lost a lot of revenue sources.
Yeah.
Because merchandise is down, they're not making the house show revenue. But this company is making record profit this year. Like, to the good, record number. More than they made during the Attitude Era. To be so greedy, I just don't like it.
Yeah, I believe it's just like, every day, one way or another, one person from so and so country actually subscribe in WWE Network. So one way or another, WWE is still getting money. And I'm pretty sure, at least for coming 10 or 20 years, even though WWE is running a loss, I don't think it's going to affect Vince McMahon or his family financially,
No.
because it's kind of like they're settled. They know what they're doing. I believe in the 90s, they didn't really have much options about like buying shares or, then they sold the shares, and recently they sold the XFL to The Rock, made money out of it, then gave some 50% share or something to Fox or SmackDown. They're still making money, It's just the fact that they're losing fans on one side, but at the same time, on the other side, they're still making money. And, it's the WWE that we're talking about. Sometimes we all, as fans, we shit on WWE, but then when something huge happens, we're like, yeah, we love WWE. They always lose the grip at the same time. Yeah, it just always happens back and forth. And
there's just some petty stuff that goes on there. Like, they didn't have to put NXT on the same night as AEW. Everyone knows that was a strategic move to try to slow the growth. Yeah. And thankfully, it didn't work out, because more wrestling companies succeeding is better for every wrestling company and for every wrestler and every wrestling fan.
Yeah, when you watch NXT, the problem is every wrestler, everything looks the same. Match number 1 to match number 10. Every wrestlers are pretty much doing the same thing. Super kick, suicide dive, flips, nothing same. But when you look at AEW, the characters, the gimmicks are entirely different. Every match is entirely different. Frankie Kazarian or Kenny Omega, everyone works in a different way. They don't. They have like a freedom. As a wrestler, you have to have a freedom to do whatever you do the best in the ring. I give an example. Apollo Crews used to be known as Uha Nation back in the indie scene before he got signed by WWE back in 2015, I believe.
Yeah.
When he was in the indies, I watched a couple of his matches. Trust me, the dude is insane. He's awesome. But unfortunately, when he got hired by WWE, they had to cut down all of his arsenal, and WWE allowed him to use maybe 2 or 3 stuff in the ring to pull moves, and that's pretty much it. It's just sad. And before we end the show, there's just one more thing that I wanted to talk about, and that's Black Lives Matter and the whole racist thing. I want you to start with what your experience was. It even still how you feel the whole situation.
Like I said, I grew up here in an area where not even maybe 1% of the population right here where I live is anything besides white. It's probably 99% just white people. So growing up in this area, like I said, it's weird because you feel like a lot of the things that are going on in the rest of the world don't affect this area, but I drive 20, 30 minutes away and it's totally different. And people here act like the stuff that's going on in the cities and the movements that's going on right now, oh, well, that doesn't affect anyone because you don't feel it here like you would if you lived in Columbus or any major city, really, where there's been a lot of the protests and stuff. I will say I have probably blocked on social media over 100 people since since everything happened with George Floyd. We're in a society right now where I don't think we have more racism than we had last year or anything like that. However,
maybe in 10, 20 years.
It's not so much, I think that there's just more racists out there. It's all being made a lot louder. The people that are that way are feeling more comfortable with it. So like I know people that they want to look at the looting and riots that are happening, and all I can say is, well, if people hadn't decided that someone else's life mattered less because they're not white, maybe this wouldn't be happening. So I'm far more upset by the fact that I know black people that get treated differently, that looked at differently just because of their skin color. That bothers me a lot more than someone's house getting burnt down because of a riot. It just does. I'm not that I think rioting and looting is good. I really don't. But
Yeah.
I also don't think that police killing an unarmed, innocent woman who was asleep in her home was right either.
Yeah.
So, there has to be a line somewhere, and it seems like there's no easy answer simply because no one wants to look at a solution. Everyone wants to look at who's right, who's wrong, instead of saying, look, we have a big systemic issue that's rooted in this country that has to change. I kind of look at a lot of this stuff right now. I try to think, 50, 60 years from now, when I'm, old and on my deathbed or whatever, and I got my great grandkids or whatever with me, and we look back on what's going on today, I want to know that I can tell them that I was on the right side of history. And I think everyone does that. The scary thing to me is that, this world isn't like the cartoon world where people that are evil or go, "Ooh, I'm evil." No, they think they're right.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, you've seen me working in wrestling as Cross. Cross is never about being bad or being evil. Cross always believes that he is the good guy.
Good guy. Yeah.
That's what makes him such a great villain. Even with, as the Indian Nightmare believed that he was right.
Yeah.
And it makes it so easy to piss someone off because you're not going, "Oh, you're right, and I'm evil, and I'm going to beat you because I'm evil." You're going, "No, hey, you, super good guy that everyone loves. You're actually wrong, and I'm better than you because I'm right." Man, that gets under the skin.
Yeah.
And that's how it is in real life, too. I mean, there's so many people right now that don't realize that the things they're doing and saying are hurtful and hateful.
Yeah. When I used to work in TWA, I used to get threats from people, saying a lot of racist different things. And on top of that, there's one promotion in Kentucky, ECCW. That was the name of the promotion. They changed the W now, ECC or something like that. They wanted to book me, and they asked me to be a terrorist, play a terrorist gimmick. I said, "No, I'm not doing that. That's not me. Why would I do that?" And when I told one of a legend, he said, "If I were you, I would have taken it." Like, it's not 1970 anymore. People knows the difference between a Middle Eastern and Indian. And it's just like,
and if they don't,
maybe in some places people buy it, but not really. It's just, anyway, if I'm going to be a foreign heel, I would rather be as an Indian Nightmare Vineesh than be someone else from some other places. And there's 2 incidents that happened in the South, and I'm really sad that it happened. VCW, Victory Championship Wrestling, used to be and still it is a very, very good reputed independent wrestling promotion in Alabama, in Munford, Alabama. I don't know if you heard about the situation. Mayor of that was upset the fact that the world champion is black. So the mayor actually asked them to shut down, and they asked them to vacate the place. So they're running their last show on this Saturday in Munford, Alabama.
Damn.
Victory Championship Wrestling, yeah. And they posted about this issue on social media as an independent professional wrestler, from like in a different diversity, I support and promote them. But again, it's a shame and it's sad that we live in a world where even a professional wrestling champion is offensive to a lot of people.
Yeah.
And
it's insane.
Yeah. So people are listening to this, follow VCW. Victory Championship Wrestling, Alabama. You know, they're really good promotion. There are a lot of good talents. And last but not least, there's one more incident happened. This is going to shock you and to the people who listen to this. A released former WWE Tag Team Champions who actually signed with TNA. I'm not going to say their name, but obviously you can guess it. So a released former WWE Tag Team Champions, a former Tag Team Champions in New Japan Pro Wrestling. They also work in TNA Wrestling. So these guys have a independent wrestling promotion in the South, in Georgia. I don't even want to say the name either. Because it's not a good thing. So they fired somebody. They fired a wrestler, a black wrestler, an African-American wrestler, just because he posted Black Lives Matter on social media.
You gotta be kidding.
And I couldn't believe. I was trying to contact this guy to get a dark match or try out with TNA, whatever. Hey, if anyone is listening to this, I don't give a fucking shit because I'm 33 years old. Hey, I will still survive and I'll live my life, but I'm going to express my opinion. These guys, they fired that kid because he supported Black Lives Matter. And it became a big issue. And I expressed how I felt about the entire situation. I contacted the guy and I told him and that I can't believe the fact that you guys been around the world, but still you have this weird, shitty mentality and you had to fire somebody. Now that kid is kind of like, sad. He don't know. I mean, you look up to these people and when, these people are like, they turn to a bad villains and doing this horrible
Never
things.
meet your heroes.
Yeah. Some people, yeah. But these guys, they're terrible. Yeah, I'll give you the names of the people and name of the promotion after we do the podcast.
Not that we could have ever guessed.
Yeah, right.
Definitely not. It wouldn't have been the same people that were on the Quizzlemania last week, was it? Couldn't be at all. No one with a machine.
I don't speak English.
So no one with a machine gun.
I don't know what you're talking about. Yeah, I mean, hey, man, Machine Gun Kelly was a former gangster,
Yeah, that's exactly where I was going with that. Yeah, it's such a crazy world right now. So many things from outside of wrestling are getting into wrestling.
Can you remember what I said earlier? The more people you know in this business, the more you're going to hate this business. You will lose the passion and love. The less people you know in this business, the more you love this business and the more you're passionate about this business. That's what happened to me. Hey, I got a chance to go out and do things and meet some great people, great names, but at the end of the day, when I got to know a bit more, then, oh, shit. That feeling, I was like, oh, shit, I shouldn't have,
That's why I kind of love people ask, well, why don't you go work here? Why don't you go over there and work for that company? The only company I wrestle for right now is Top Notch Wrestling Alliance. And the reason for that isn't because I can't go anywhere else. I absolutely can. But I don't want to.
Yeah.
Same there with the people there that I know. Like I said, it's a good crew, good leadership. I like the guys. If any drama arises, we just settle it.
Yeah.
And it makes it so much more fun. The more I tried to work into the idea of trying to get out there and get my name out there and try to, be bigger than that, the less I hated the business.
Yeah.
Or the more I hated the business, I should say.
Yeah.
Because, again, like you said, the more connections you start trying to make, the bigger promotion you make in the industry, it seems like no one wants to build anybody up anymore.
Yeah.
Oh, he's doing good. Well, he must be some sort of jackass if he's doing good, right?
Yeah.
I mean, like me, when I saw that Brian Pillman Jr. got a shot on AEW just on Dark, I was so excited for him. To see someone here from my home state on television, even if it's just on the internet, working for.
I got a chance to work. I got a chance to work with him in a same show in Mega Pro Wrestling, Mega Championship Wrestling.
Mega, yeah, I've been there.
Yeah.
That first shoot I told you about.
If you're watching this, promoter, you still owe me my money. Anyway, yeah, I'm sorry.
I don't think John Cooper's watching.
Oh, that's his name. Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, that's the one I told you about before. That's the company where I was at, where my friend Tim got shot on and knocked out in the ring.
Oh.
Where they told the guys to shoot on us. That's where that happened at. If I'd known you were going to Mega, I probably would have warned you.
It's all an experience, man. That's all I'll say. Like, got a chance to meet Brian Pillman. He exactly looks like his dad, and
Yeah,
he's very, very humble. It's
he
very,
moves like him in the ring too.
yeah, down to the
Watching
earth,
him
man.
wrestle, you
It's-
could really think it's his dad working.
yeah, he looks like him. As he represent himself, I mean, I know Harry Smith. He calls himself as the British Bulldog now these days. But since we're gonna work in the same company, I can't say anything about him. So talking about that, I've signed a multi-year deal with NAWA, North American Wrestling Alliance.
Oh, nice.
They're doing their first show, first pay-per-view show in Daytona Beach, Florida, in December 13th. It's called Jingle Fight. If I said something wrong, I apologize, but I think it's something like that.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens, So, yeah, I'll get a chance to meet a lot of guys. Like, I talked to the president and the booker. They said they're in contact with guys like Harry Smith, Tim Storm, James Storm, and a bunch of other guys. We'll see what happens. We definitely need one more wrestling company, like a good company. Represent wrestling, professional wrestling, not any bull craps, like a good wrestling. And when they started the NWA, I was hoping like they're okay. The studio wrestling is back, and right, plus their product, okay, same thing. WWE, AW, or just, they're all trying to imitate each other one way or another. What are the unique companies out there? Okay, WWE, they're doing their own thing. AW is doing another thing. Well, after this, what are the companies out there? Let's say TNA, Ring of Honor, NWA. They're all trying to do the same thing that WWE and AW is doing. They don't want to do anything different or special.
Yeah.
It's sad.
That's why, like I said, my advice to anyone that's really wanting to do anything in this business that's not aspiring to try to make it to one of the big leagues immediately, at least, is find a good company that runs their own company, that doesn't try to imitate anyone else. Stick with them. You'll learn more that way than you will working 10 companies that are trying to do what they see on TV.
Yeah. It's sad because, one of the good school in Houston, Texas, I saw two guys from that school that were wrestling, and I watched their match on YouTube. The whole crowd is like, "This is awesome," but all I see is Finn Balor and AJ Styles.
Yep.
Sling blades, Pele kick. I was like, "What the hell?"
I can say with absolute certainty that you're never going to see me doing that shit.
Me neither, man.
I mean, you could say it's probably because I can't, but
Well, I mean, hey, if Keith
no one
Lee
wants to see Vincent Cross doing
Keith
that.
Lee can do it, if Samoa Joe can do it, if Kevin Owens can do it, if Braun freaking Strowman can do it, dude, I was like, he did that dropkick. I don't know if you remember the match he had with Big Show. I was like, what the hell just happened?
I said, for me, I always try to look at what fits what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I got an idea for a movie because that looks cool, but if it doesn't fit me and I can't make it believable as something that I would do, why do it? Just because you can do something doesn't mean you should. And I think that's what a lot of wrestlers don't realize anymore. I got to say, I agree with Cornette that you need to tell a story, and the story is you need to make people believe that the two people in the ring are trying to kill each other. You're trying to beat that person. You're trying to hurt them enough to pin them or submit them. You're trying to win a fight.
That's when New Japan Pro Wrestling is very unique from American wrestling style. When you look at Okada or Sanada or Tanahashi or Katsuyori Shibata, all these guys, this is one thing I want to put down there. A lot of people, a lot of American wrestlers, they think that strong style means shooting and being stiff in each other. No, it's completely wrong. I don't want to get into the details, but it's not shooting or it's not being stiff in the ring. It's creating a real life fight atmosphere. That's what the strong style is all about. And people mistaken by that thing. So I've seen some of these guys, some of these kids when I work with them, they give me like stiff elbows, like, what the fuck are you doing?
You catch me with one of those in a match, I'm getting you back.
Yeah.
It's on.
Yes, is one person have to, like, adjust here because let's say you piss me off. Oh, right, then it's going to be a cat fight. It's an MMA fight. But, yeah, sometimes Jim Cornette is right, man. It's like, but at the same time, when he talks about Kenny Omega, it's like Kenny Omega is the only guy actually made it into a big stream without WWE.
Yeah.
With his hard work. So I have nothing but love and respect for Kenny Omega. And
a lot of people hate the Young Bucks too, and they did the same thing. They managed to make themselves huge without a machine behind them.
Young Bucks created their own, how do I say this? Followers.
Yeah.
They created their own trend. That's the right way to put it. Even for me to this day, they kind of like remind me of Triple H and Shawn Michaels of DX, but still, they're doing things in their own unique way. And like I said, in this country, we all have our, freedom to express our opinion. Some people like them, some people don't. As a worker, I don't really like their style, but at the end of the day, if fans are enjoying it, they're putting a show. And remember, independent professional wrestling and sports entertainment is entirely different. A lot of people don't know the difference. Entertainment, the key word is entertainment. They can do anything to entertain you, make you laugh, have some good time. That's entertainment. And wrestling is creating a fight ambience.
Well, back in the winter, like January, February, that's when AEW had their Revolution pay-per-view. I don't know if you got a chance to see it. My wife and I, we decided to actually buy that one. So we sat down and watched it. So before I was able to go online and see how people were reacting, I remember looking at her as we were watching the Young Bucks versus Omega and Adam Page tag match. And I told her, I said, I think this might be the best tag team wrestling match I've ever seen. Because I didn't know what to expect. As someone who's trying to analyze it as a wrestler, I'm like, I can't tell who's going over. I can't tell what's happening. I'm lost. I'm trying to figure it out. But I wasn't looking at it going, oh, well, that looks fake, because everything they did looked like it hurt.
Yeah.
But it all made sense. And to me, it was a story.
Because the chemistry was right there. All those four guys known each other forever.
And, like, I always hate when someone gets hit with, like, 5 or 6 huge things and they just kick out clean. I've always hated that. I remember watching a Kevin Owens versus John Cena match, and they were doing a big spot off the top rope, and Cena kicked out at 2 like it was nothing, and I was just like, I don't believe it. You just took me out of what's happening.
Yeah.
But that match, they weren't doing that. Their partners were making the save to keep it going, because you could tell he can't kick out, but his partner made the save for it. They were being smart about how they did it, and that's what was allowing me to just stay hooked. Because you realize, in order to win, they're going to have to take out both guys to get a victory, and it just seemed like they couldn't pull it off. Neither team could take out 2 guys at once.
Yeah.
It made for a great story. Like I said, I was never a huge fan of the Young Bucks. That match actually is the one that kind of sold me on them.
It's funny, though. Like, I was a fan of Young Bucks before they became Young Bucks. They were Generation Me in TNA.
Yep.
And they had, like, oh, my God, amazing match. This is all before the whole Super Kick party. They had a great match against the Motor City Machine Guns in TNA. In 2010, 2011, that time period, I believe it was a Bound for Glory. Oh, my God, man. That was insane. I became a fan of Generation Me at that point in time. Then later, they changed everything. They started mocking WWE, and that's when I was like, the Super Kick party. It's like But
I've never
anyway,
seen that.
man.
I was thinking that is so stupid. But like I said, as it kept going, it was kind of like, they were telling an inside joke, and as you get it, it's like, oh, okay, I get it now.
Yeah.
But for anyone that has an issue with them, all I have to say is, if it wasn't for them, I mean, we may not have AEW right now. So a lot of these wrestlers might not be able to make a good payday.
Yeah, they're giving opportunities to independent professional wrestlers.
That company, their existence at the level they're at is good for the rest of us.
Yep.
So I don't have to like them to respect them. It's just I'm fortunate that I like them, but I have friends that right now can't stand their product and don't watch it. I know people that say they can't get past seeing these guys as office to buy them in the ring. Cody's one of those that they say that about a lot, and I think Cody Rhodes is fantastic. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, but I've heard his commentary, and I didn't really like some of the things he said. Like, if you're doing a commentary, you shouldn't tell the wrestlers what to do.
Yeah. You
should be expressing about a certain moves or certain things. You should be promoting the fight instead of I heard him saying he should have done crucifix. You should be doing DDT. I mean, I understand as a worker, he's one of those workers that still maintain that old school wrestling style.
Yeah. Like I said, as a commentator, I didn't like him when he was trying to do commentary, but in ring, I think he's a really good storyteller. But like I said, I think their existence is good for the business, especially right now when the business is so far down.
Oh yeah, independent professional wrestling is really hurt, man. It's just tough.
I do think that as an industry, we are going to pull through it and come out on the other side, and it's going to be. I'm excited to see what comes out next.
Yeah.
When we're all running again, what happens? Because I think hopefully a lot of the outlaw mud shows, as Cornette would put it, hopefully a lot of the companies that shouldn't have been running to begin with don't come back, and hopefully some really good ones pop up.
Yeah. Just like Jay Miller's IWA, returning after COVID-19.
Oh, boy.
I'm making a debut, actually, yeah.
Yeah, and on that note, though, I think that's probably about all the time we got for now. It's been about an hour or longer, so we'll definitely have to do this again, man. Like I said, hopefully we can see about bring
Tom, man.
Bring Tom on the show, yeah.
I love to hear stories because he booked a lot of wrestlers on his one CW promotion before even they became popular and famous.
Yeah. Let's say I think he'd have a fascinating story. I'm going to reach out to him. Definitely want to try to get back into doing these again now that my schedule's finally working out a little bit better. But yeah, thanks for being on the show again, man.
Thank you, brother. It's time for me to take out some trash again.
Oh God, be careful with that. You might catch something. That trash might just kill itself.
Oh yeah, right.
I want us to go there. All right. Well, thanks everyone for watching, and we'll catch you again next time.
Thank you.